So, hello and welcome to our first recap with Soft UK. The name may change as we go forward with these things, as they always do. But I am joined today by Sonia and Paige as well. And we're just going to be doing these once a month to talk a little bit about all the stuff that's been happening, I guess, behind the scenes, some of the places we've been, some of the things we're doing, and upcoming events as well. So, I guess kicking it off, Sonia, do you want to talk a little bit about the family day that we've just had?
Yeah, so we had the family day in Birmingham in May, and we had an amazing attendance from a wonderful community. We had about 60 people come along and bring their children. We had so much going on for them as well. We had the sensory room for the trisomy children, and we had a creche going on. I don't think many of the families saw their children when they once they were in the creche, so that was a good success for that side. And it was just a great day to get new families coming to share their experiences and meet other families in their sort of position. And we had a meal, we had a dinner in the evening where we had some entertainment as well, which kept sort of the children busy. And yeah, I think everyone that attended really enjoyed it, got great feedback. So looking forward to putting together the next one next year. So hopefully we'll see more families attend again.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fantastic day. I really, really enjoyed it, and I'd love that it just seemed to flow right from the start to the finish. So we had a meal in the
Mm.
evening, and like Sonia said, we had children's entertainment came along as well. So the magician was absolutely fantastic. We
We
seemed
say children's, but I think it was for the adults as
everyone was,
well.
yeah, and we seemed to steal a dog at one stage. There
Yeah.
was a couple that were outside when the magician was there, and this dog then joined us. So we had this dog that was with us for pretty much the whole afternoon. Had some photography, some videography. It was just a really nice, fun day. And it was your first one that you've been to, Paige. So how did you find it?
Oh, I thought it was amazing. I kept saying it almost felt like a wedding reception. It felt like I never met most of the people in that room, but it felt like I'd known them for ages. And it just kind of, like you said, flowed. And the dinner in the evening was so lovely, kind of, was able to openly talk. I loved that the children did some celebration and remembrance pebbles in the creche. I thought that was a very sweet touch. But
Yeah.
it was just a great day. I left, yeah,
A little pebbles
Oh,
here.
still got
So
mine as
yeah.
well. Just left feeling very wholesome.
Hmm.
yeah, I
It was
was
a
just
very
going to
great
use that
day.
word. I think it was just so wholesome, and it was just a lovely way to celebrate our community all together. We just don't get a chance to do it enough. It obviously everybody's scattered and you meet each other on Zoom. It's not the same. It's something else when you actually get to meet people face to face, and you actually just end up talking about everything else but trisomy sometimes, you know. So it does mean like you do
Mm.
have other things in common. And yeah, I think everything we had out for families to enjoy, everybody took advantage of it as well, which is always what we want.
And I think as well is that we were clear on you can share as much or as little as you want. I'm personally not much of a speaker, certainly not a public speaker. Um, and I didn't feel compelled to kind of broadcast my story. It was
Yeah.
you just felt very safe, I think, to share as little or as much as you wanted.
One other thing that we got to do in person, which was great as well, was the recognition of the
Hmm.
soft awards, and we got to actually get the award winners to the family day, which was even better because we recognized a couple of clinicians in the community, and that was great for them to actually have a glance at what our families and communities are like, and feed that back to their own sort of hospitals or hospices, and share what families in our sort of situations can have, what their experiences are like. So, and something great has come off the back of that, from one of the winners giving us her feedback, and we've actually nicely gone into a bit of a segue here to include the Changing the Narrative campaign, where she wanted to see how she could support families' perception of using a hospice or changing the narrative around certain things like that, which, are a great tool and a use for families to use, but maybe have a skewed impression of it. So with that, we've been able to create something to help hopefully show families a different side to what it could be like using a hospice if this is something that they want to explore, using it as a respite care, or even just using it to get a break from doing it themselves at home, having a change of scenery, etc., and seeing what hospices can actually offer.
Yeah, and it was a really lovely day being able to go out to the hospice. So, part of the change of the narrative is all about trying to find all the contact points that a trisomy family would go through throughout their journey or experience. So, whether or not that's dealing with sonographers, hospice care, for example, is a big one there. Just all of those points that you're most likely going to come into contact with, but there's not that much information about, or that information will be completely foreign to a family at the time when they're receiving a diagnosis or going through this experience. And how do we capture that and not necessarily change narrative? I think that's a big key part is the bits that we look and go, actually, people have a really different view of what the reality is. We want to change that. But actually, how do we also communicate that narrative around these things? So we're currently in the process of working with different places and reaching out to find out actually how can we come out and get a nice video around this to make a really good resource for families. And the first one we've done is with Forget Me Not Children's Hospice. So we went out there, we spent a whole day filming, we interviewed a lot of their staff, we interviewed some families that use the hospice as well. It was an amazing day. I had so much fun. And even for me, who now knows quite a lot about children's hospices, it was completely different to what I expected, and it was just an incredible experience. So from that, we've now come away. I think I've got about five full-length videos for that, and one of them is hospice, just the overview of the whole thing. It's a bit like a documentary type shoot. One of them is speaking with all the staff about, what do they do in their day-to-day roles? What do they enjoy doing? What would they like families to know about the hospice and how they could then reach out? And then the third bigger video is with the families as well, talking about their experience, how they got in contact with Forget Me Not Hospice, what they would like families to know in it, really walking them through all of those different steps. And the idea is that we can then, when somebody comes through to us for support and is potentially considering hospice or has had somebody say, have you looked into your local hospice support? Instead of trying to send them to a written resource, which is hard to convey what really goes on behind the scenes, we can say, well, here's the written resource, but actually, here's a video, and you can, pick from these bits what you'd like to try to get a better impression of what the reality is of going to a children's hospice. And that should hopefully help a lot of families going through that journey to understand what's in store for them and the incredible resources that the likes of a hospice have to offer that will be really supportive throughout that journey. And then growing from that, we'll be looking at how else do we do things. So we're looking to put together a series of videos of the complexities of families with a trisomy 13 or trisomy 18 child, looking at just the day-to-day life of going out to the shops, for example, education, all of those bits within that you don't necessarily consider as much. So that way, again, if you are a new trisomy family, you can then look and say, actually, I need a bit of advice on age group 3 to 5, because we've got that within our community and being able to capture those day to day, day in the life of a trisomy family and put together a really nice series of videos that help to show a lot of those realities, a lot of the challenges as well. We don't want to hide away from, those bits that are challenging. We want to make sure all of that's represented throughout it. So we're really excited about it. We're looking to do a film in Scotland for Scotland's children hospices as well. We've got one lined up in the Manchester region as well, who are keen to work with us. So we've got a whole bunch at the moment. It's just that currently we're doing it all internally. So to do it externally would cost, I don't know, just shy of £10,000 for one video. So whenever we've looked at the pricing and everything, it would cost a lot of money. So we're doing it internally because then we can keep the costs down, we can respond faster, and to be honest, it just makes it easy because one of us would probably have to go there anyway. So if we can film it and be on site at the same time, just keeps those costs right down. Like we'll be able to do 100 videos versus just one if we had to pay full price for it. So it's a lovely looking video so far, and we're really excited about the changing the narrative piece. And for anyone who is out there who thinks about their own experience, your own journey, what you went through, and think actually, I wish that throughout that somebody had told me this, or I had more information about this one contact point that I had. We'd like to hear either your perspective and your story, because that in itself, we don't need to make just videos and videos and videos. A story is really powerful. So hearing your story is helpful. If you don't want to share a full story, just a quote, because then we can
Just a
share it on
snippet.
social media. Yeah,
I love them kind of snippets where it's things I'd wish I'd known, and just those
Mm.
short, sharp bursts. I love them.
Exactly. Anything like that, it helps us to change it. But then if you do want to be involved in any kind of videography or videos to tell your story, as we start to travel around the UK to capture these things, it's nice to have a bit of a database. We can't commit that we will come out and film your story or be able to involve you in something that we are doing around that area. But if we are in the area and we are doing a change the narrative piece, it's helpful to know actually we've also got X amount of families there who could be involved or who could maybe share their experience as well. So please do get in contact with us. And our contact details, as always, will be in the description for the video. So that was a good segue, Sonia. We managed to right across into changing the narrative there. But now segueing back, not as well as Sonia did in the first place. Family Days upcoming. We've got a few. So sorry,
Yeah, so
what
we've
the
got
dates are.
Wales coming up on the 20th of sorry, we've got the Scottish Family Day first, which is coming up on the hang on, was it the 14th of September?
13th.
The 13th of September, and that's going to be at the usual place at Glyn Hill Hotel in Glasgow. So if you haven't signed up, please do sign up. It's a great day. The Scottish community are just an amazing bunch of families that do normally keep this date in their diary because they love to get together and meet. So we've got a lot of families that have been with us for years and years, and others that haven't been so much. And it's a great sort of group to get together to again just share their own story. So yeah, if you're in that region, please do sign up. It's a great day. And then we've got Wales on the 20th of September. Yeah, on the 20th of September. Again, it was the first time we held it last year, and it was a great afternoon. So if you're in the area, please do sign up. It would be great to get to know the Wales community a little bit better. And then we've got the Northern Ireland one that's scheduled for the 4th of October. Again, this is in Belfast. So all of those details to register for all of those events will be linked to the video as well.
Yeah, and just we really want to stress with the Wales one as well. At the moment, we've only got one registration. So if you are on the fence about it and you're thinking that you would like to go, but you're leaving it a bit closer, it'd be really helpful if you can register, just so we know that there is a demand there for it, because we have deadlines where unfortunately we would have to pull the event if we don't get enough sign-ups for it. So, if you are thinking about it and you'd like to come, or if you've just not got around to doing it yet, ideally doing it as soon as possible would really help us out, because just lets us know, like I said, that people do want to come to it and that we've got registrations available. Brilliant. And I guess moving from there to Northern Ireland, like you just said, we are really excited to be hiring in Northern Ireland at the moment. So we are launching something called the Regional Engagement Officer. And this all comes from an idea that we had towards the back end of last year, that actually we've got an engagement officer that covers the whole of the UK for things like social media, engaging with our community, helping us to maintain the website, podcasting, and all of that amazing stuff. But there's so much that happens in the individual countries that we just can't quite capture and make sure we're communicating correctly in terms of volunteering, in terms of advocacy, in terms of going out to hospitals and different trusts, looking after all our different volunteers, setting up the different regional engagement days. So we wanted to bring on board regional engagement officers. So that'd be one regional engagement officer for each of the countries within the UK. And we thought, what better place to start off with than Northern Ireland, where we've got a really fantastic community over there, but they are also more isolated due to having, a bit of water between us. It does make it more difficult. So by doing this, it's going to be our first pilot, and we're going to give it a shot, see how it goes. And we're really, really excited. So that is live at the moment. Again, we'll have that link down below. If you are interested and know anybody who is interested, it's a 16-hour remote working position. You'll be part of the central team as well, and just helping us to really grow that audience and advocacy within Northern Ireland to help push that already exists that little bit further and make sure that everybody is properly supported, that we can, like I said, advocate for our community, that we can go out to the different trusts, that we can make sure that we have a presence at all the different meetings and everything else there. We've said really, really excited for it. And it will be very interesting to see how it goes. And hopefully, if it is a success, we'll be able to then begin rolling it out to Wales, Scotland, England will probably be the final one we do if we do that, because obviously we're all in England, so we can do a
Mhm.
lot of that piece at the moment, but we want to make sure that every country within the UK is properly represented and supported. So that is our regional engagement officer. And then the final thing I suppose to talk to is we've been about all over the place this year so far, haven't we? And Paige, you went to, I guess, your first like proper networking event on behalf of Soft. How was that?
It was amazing. It was so amazing. So I went to Beacon's Rare Showcase, and their mission statement is no one should face rare alone. And I really felt like that was really shown there. And they had, which I think is a great idea. So they're called lightning talks, and you have 5 minutes exactly, and they ring the bell, and you're not allowed to speak anymore. So you really got to make sure you get your point across in those 5 minutes. And the speakers were incredible. We had speakers from pharmaceutical companies, Arthur's Quest, which was an incredible micro charity. They're doing amazing things across Europe. So, like us, they're very, very small. I think they've got two from a central team, and they've just combined with Italy, I want to say, and they did a big conference in Italy, and their speech was all about together we're stronger. So kind of coming together, which is kind of what we're saying with the regional engagement officer in Ireland. Kind of we're trying to form a united work team. But I just really felt like the rare disease community was really showcased there. I just think it was an amazing event. A lot of people knew about Soft, which was amazing. I thought, being so small, they wouldn't, but they knew all about Soft, the stuff we're doing. They were really interested in what the campaign, the changing the narrative, and helping with that in any way. And I think a lot of them could resonate with the change in the narrative, because I think nearly all of them have faced narrative that they would want to change. So I think although we're obviously targeting our community, it could definitely be reached to the rare community as well. So yeah, it was just an amazing evening. I felt very inspired afterwards, really, and just really proud to be representing Soft and that people know who we are.
Yeah. No, it sounds like a fantastic day. And I did similar. I went down to Birmingham. It's not this month. I've lost track of time now. I think it was
I
back
know.
last month or it was the beginning of this month. Um, to see Medics for Rare Disease and Emotive were hosting a day, and it was a really, really good day. It was a fantastic networking session to come up with proposed plans that we put forward to the Department of Health and Social Work. And it was all about looking at how we represent the rare community and make sure that basically having blue sky thinking about what if you could do anything, what would it be? How would you make sure the rare community is properly represented? How would we change things within healthcare? And putting all of that together, coming up with the top line bit and then the how and then what that impact would be. And because each table had so many incredible people sat around it, it was amazing. The stuff that was coming out and all the bits that you were trying to solve. And then someone would think of something and then you go, yeah, but I can't quite figure out how would you fix that. And then someone else at the table go, well, actually, I've got this experience that we can put together here. So the action plans that came out of it were amazing. So that's all going to get presented to the Department of Health and Social Work as well. So it's tangible stuff that will go towards them. It's really well thought out. It's going to be really, really well fleshed out. And obviously, it's always a privilege to get to hear Medicare for Rare Disease CEO Dr. Lucy Mackay talk, because she's fantastic. Like, if you follow anyone on like LinkedIn and stuff like that, she does some amazing presentations. She did one for us at the Family Day. We did our first in-person webinar, and she came out for that, and it was an incredible talk, similar to what we're talking about with the change of the narrative. We've got it on our website, so head over and have a look at that. It's a really, really good presentation. But again, always privileged getting to hear her talk at these events, because she just has so much passion and energy. It gets everyone in the room really going. and engaged in like that talking piece there. So that was a fantastic day. I really enjoyed it. I got to meet lots of incredible people. Um, the amount you come away from these events energized
Yeah.
because everybody is so passionate about what they do, but they
Yeah.
don't gatekeep. I think that's the biggest thing. Nobody there ever gatekeeps. They're always passionate about what they do. But the moment you talk about what you do, they're really passionate about what you do as well. And
Mm.
I've never felt that sort of energy working from, if I go back to my, I guess, retail days, going out to those sort of retail meetings and everything, they're always very much you're here to learn this and to do that, go away and do it. Whereas this is like you're here to learn and network and communicate with each other. And it's just such an amazing environment, and I absolutely loved it.
I think because ultimately we want the same goal. We want kind of advocacy and awareness, and we all want to achieve that same goal. So, gatekeeping just wouldn't work, would it? It's just kind of
Yeah,
we're all going to achieve that.
I
exactly.
think when you go to these meetings, you realize that you all have that in common as well, the same
Mm.
goal in common. So why do it in silos when it would be so much better to get together and into a bigger group to share that awareness?
Brilliant. But I think that kind of comes to the, unless I've missed
Crazy.
anything. I think it's everything on there. Brilliant. So that was our first monthly recap, and hopefully we will be back next month, provided there be no technical issues, because they always seem to crop up. Whenever we try and do something new, it seems to be something that just breaks in the background. So thank you so much for watching. If you've got any questions, throw them in the comments, and we'll try and answer them next month as well, because that would be quite nice to do a bit of a Q&A session. So any questions you've got about, it could be us, it could be about the industry, it could be about the charity itself, let us know and we will do our best to find out those questions in advance. So thank you so much. Take care.